two bloody crybabies, me and you.
But yes, I mean, also, sorry, I was just thinking now, the capable part, we've just got to get mine part to let me drive. I am strong, I am powerful, I'm capable, but I'm not allowed to drive.
Hello and welcome to Blending and Mending. On the episode, I have my sister, Natalie Rose, and we've been playing around with what topics we should be discussing and how do we run this episode, that it's a PG rated episode, and we'll talk about that throughout the episode. But I finally have my sister on. So Nat, welcome to the Blending and Mending podcast.
Thank you, my Shanti.
So, Nat, I know that a lot of people from Newcastle are going to be listening to this podcast, a lot of friends and family. But for those of the viewers or the listeners who don't know you, tell us a little bit about yourself and just parts of your story, just for some context.
My name is Natalie. I'm your sister. And yes, I'm a mommy. I'm a single mommy. I've been divorced. I said it out loud the other day, for almost 3 years, which feels so strange, but yes, so for almost 3 years, and I'm a teacher. So yes, I've got busyness at school. I've got a grade 1 class, and yes, I've got my kiddies at home. That's me.
So if you go to town with my sister,
Oh,
it feels like you're walking around town with a celebrity because everyone is like, oh, Miss Rose. So yeah, I've had to accept that I need to share my sister when we're in a restaurant or in public. So we prefer to stay home, but it is what it is. So the topic that Natalie and I eventually decided on is such a critical topic in terms of people going through a hard process of divorce. But importantly, what does life look like after divorce? What does that healing process look like? And what we're also going to be touching on are certain divorce triggers. So the things that you experience as you're going through that process and even after that no one prepares you for. So there's a lot that we've got planned in terms of this conversation. So Nat, let's get stuck straight into it. So if I can take you back 3 years plus some in terms of what life looked like for you married and then into divorce. What was that for you?
I was happily married. I was. I'm a Christian, so I'm a very submissive wife. Was a very submissive wife. And I just loved every aspect of being married, being submissive to my husband. He's the head of the house. And I loved just having my family, having my Caleb, becoming a mom, and then having Emma. I was really, really happy. And obviously, marriage in general, it comes with its ups and downs. But I can honestly say, other than just the everyday things of maybe finance or this or that or the other, we didn't have any issues. So saying that, my divorce in itself was just an absolute shock.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe I didn't read the signs properly. Maybe I was just so blissfully happy that I didn't see certain things. I don't know. A few months before the day that I knew, okay, this is done, we had an issue. PG, it's a PG episode. We had an issue, and it took a lot. We worked through it, and I really and truly believed that we had worked through it. It was just sort of one of those moments of, I said, it's done. We don't mention anything, it's done. And I kept to that, and we carried on with our lives. And yes, it was just a shock. So bringing up one of your previous episodes with you going through divorce, Chance. Sorry, it's important. I have to just give context to how important that moment was for me, because you had made your decision that you were getting a divorce. And I think if I look back at that, I suppose mommy and I, if I want to bring mom into it, sorry, mom, probably felt like children in your marriage. Like, you want your parents to stay together. We wanted you and Tyler to stay together. Like, no, what is going on? And Susan's episode with you, that's the episode I'm talking about. It's sort of just, I can see her in front of me, Susie, where she just said, you didn't need to give your reasons. You didn't need to give an explanation. And Susie said, you weren't happy and we didn't need to ask you, but why? We just needed to hear that and support you. And we didn't support you in the way that you needed to be supported. Because we were very much between you and Tyler, and we wanted to be there for him just as much as we wanted to be there for you. And obviously we didn't realize the impact of that because you needed us the most. Tyler had his family as well, and we were your family. We are your family. So
Gosh, Nat.
So yes, I need to explain.
We're 6 minutes in.
Sorry, I need to just explain. So you and I, respectfully, so you just put up a boundary and you said, okay, you can't deal with this right now, and we didn't speak for a while, and I respected that. And
it was a year. We didn't speak for about a year.
Yeah, I was going to say a little while. Yeah, it wasn't such a little while. If anyone knows us as a family unit, that it was massive that we didn't. And the day or the moment that I realized, okay, I'm getting a divorce, I knew there was no other way. It's just that was what had to happen. I remember wanting to phone mommy and pa, and I phoned you instead. I'll never forget. I was sitting in this passage on the floor looking at my phone, and I didn't even know if you were going to answer the phone because we hadn't spoken in such a long time. And you did. Thank you for answering. And you just went straight into big sister mode with me, and there wasn't any, hey, you haven't been supporting me. There was just, okay. We cried together. You actually said to me, you need to be sure before you phone Ma and Pa. And yeah, you did. So I remember getting off the phone with you and just being so, I mean, I had spoken to you finally. I was so grateful that you answered. And yes, I pondered for probably a few seconds only. And I remember just pushing the dial button. And that pushing the dial button was my confirmation that I'm getting a divorce. So yes, it was just a shock. It was an absolute shock. Yeah.
What did life look like for you and the kids straight after divorce? Because I mean, you've spoken about happily married, blissful life. I know you guys just had such a routine. I always saw you guys as such a tag team partner. I mean, my memory of you and your ex husband when the kids were really small is you would kind of get ready, and when you got to the car, everything was packed, right? Bottles, prams. I remember going to the mall and you had no idea how to open up the bloody pram because the pram was always opened up for you, right? So, I mean, what did it look like going from a life where you felt like you had your partner next to you all the time to then realizing that partner is no longer there? And now you've got your 2 children and you need to carry on with life. What was that time like for you guys?
I think everything was just sort of a haze. I knew what had to be done, and I very much stepped into a go, go, go mode. I didn't allow myself time to really, I think, process everything. And in saying that too, it was, I think everything happened so quickly because I was like, okay, this is going to happen now. This is going to happen. And I remember, so for example, speaking about that my ex-husband helped as much as he did. I felt very sorry for myself. The first morning that I had to pack lunch boxes for school and get everyone's stuff together felt like my world was absolutely ending. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is it. I mean, obviously now I don't want to toot my own horn, but like, it's just, everything's just, like, you can do it, right? But in that moment, you just, everything seems like it's a mountain. Everything seems like it's a mountain. And, yeah, it was really hard, but I knew once I really put my mind to something, if I'm not sure, I kind of play around with the idea. But once I know this is what I have to do, or this is what needs to be done, I'm like a little bulldozer. So I think it was also difficult for my ex-husband. And we also, I mean, we literally went from the day before having I don't know how to explain it, like a bye, honey kind of moment, and enjoy your day, to the very next day it was over. So I think for us both, I remember still messaging him a lot. I messaged him so much, and he would message me a lot about something that happened in the day. I think,
Oh, I remember that.
yes,
You guys would talk about school stuff
what
and
happened at work.
yeah,
I think I
yes.
think our bodies were in the motion of it, but we still hadn't processed. But you're not my person anymore. And I think we just, out of habit, I suppose, just still very much had quite a bit of contact until obviously that changed. Until I think it was kind of like a hello, this is not the way forward. So things were very confusing. I think I remember you saying to me, Nat, I'm a little bit confused. I think everything was just so confusing because, yeah, it was a very weird moment initially for a bit of time. Yeah, just to sort of put everything into place of where everything actually belongs and then to move forward. Ja, in Afrikaans we sê dit was 'n gemorspel. Dit was te mekaar. Baie.
What about the kids? So with Caleb, I know, so Caleb is my sister's eldest, and then she's got little Emma. Caleb is the firstborn in the family, and when I just see that face, right, like I know we're supposed to love everyone equally, but yes, I love your little boy so much. And then you've got Emma, and she just looks like a doll. But I know Caleb struggled, and I remember you would phone me and say he's asking difficult questions. Please just talk to him. Or when we would go to Newcastle to visit, you would say, Shans, just please spend some time with him. I'm really worried about him. What was that time like for you and the kids?
Yeah, Emma was so little. She was turning 2 at the time. She was tiny. So she didn't really know what was going on. But yeah, Caleb, I remember Caleb being very angry with me in that time period because he kept saying, but you asked Dad to leave. It's because of you that he's, and I took it, and I mean, you can't explain to your 5-year-old, what's exactly happening. So I just remember I took it, and I just said to him, this is how it has to be. And he was very clever because he would say things like, but you and Dad fought a lot. And I'd say to him, we didn't fight because we never fought in front of the kids. And it's so strange because later on when I took him to therapy, the therapist said, a fight for a child is also when you're not talking to each other as much, or when there isn't love and affection, or whatever the case may be. And he was also referring to, so when I'd asked him, but when, he'd refer to the first issue or the problems that we had. That sort of stuck in his head. And he said, so yeah, maybe it's better. But it was also just very confused. And he would ask a lot of questions. But when is Dad coming back? Is he coming back? How long is Daddy gone for? So that was very difficult to, sort of ease his heart and to try and explain as little as he was. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I always say to people, we grow up with certain narratives, right? So, like, Mila got engaged this week at school, right? And so, and she's so happy that she's engaged and that she has a husband. Like, and it's super cute. And our children watch these programs about Beauty and the Beast and Cinderella and the Prince. And I remember you and I, as kids, would go sit on the face brick fry in the back of the garden, and remember the old one, And we would climb to the top. We would sit there with our little babies and we would look at the Eskom mine. And we would say that was the castle, remember? And that our princes were coming. So there's this narrative around you go through school and then you have your boyfriends and you find love and you have your first kiss and then you get engaged and then you get married and the next step is you have your children and then it's supposed to be but now we live forever after we have our pretty little house and our children are happy and so there's almost a preparation for what those life steps should look like. No one prepares you for divorce. No one gets married, and I almost say this in every single podcast, but no one gets married thinking they're going to get divorced.
Shanti, and you and I...
You need to pull yourself towards yourself,
no, sorry,
right?
but I remember mommy saying, my goodness, sorry, I'm speaking Afrikaans. My children got married in the same year and divorced in the same year. And we were just like, sorry, mom. Because we did.
Yeah, that's true. So, I mean, Tyler and I were separated way before, probably a year and a bit before you guys. Like because of COVID, it couldn't get processed as quickly. But yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
So it was a lot and it's a weird phase. And I think, again, you now, like you were saying, standing in the kitchen having to pack lunch boxes, you think, I didn't sign up for this. When I signed that day, I signed to have a partner to do life with. Now I'm doing it on my own and the kids are asking me hard questions. There's no one to tag team with. I remember when Mila and I moved into our own little home after the separation, it was weird for me that I needed to cook and then I needed to run the bath water and
do everything.
Then you have to get your you do it's the dinner time, bath time, story time, play, like everything is on you. And when Mila went back to Tyler after that week, I was shattered. I was physically, emotionally, mentally shattered. So yeah, again, it's a space that no one prepares you for. And I mean, I say this to you, and it's not just because you're my sister. You're one of the best mummies I know. Your children excel in everything that they touch and everything that they do, and they do it. It's because of you. Without us getting sentimental. So if you had to think about, again, maybe going back to the beginning in comparison to what life looks like now, your coping mechanisms. And I say coping mechanisms because we cope with divorce so differently, right? You were so busy. I would phone you and check in on you.
I wish I was still going.
Oh no, I've got a braai on Friday, and then we're doing this play date on Saturday, and then there's a birthday party, and then I'm going to go to someone else for dinner, and then someone else is popping in for a glass of gin, or it was just nonstop. So talk through your coping mechanisms. What did you find helped you through that time?
I went out a lot. I did. Not when I had the kids. So initially, in that first year, the kids were going to their dad every second weekend, Friday to Sunday. And from the moment I would sometimes see them off, and he would fetch them. And I'd literally have my car keys in my hand because I would be getting into the car as well. And then off I go. I hated being at home. I hated being alone. It just felt so eerie. I mean, the house there's quiet and then there's like...
It's a different quiet.
When the kids are at home, it's quiet.
It's a different quiet.
Yes, but when they're not there and you can't just hear that little voice or them playing a little game here or whatever the case may be, I couldn't do it. And I have amazing friends. And at that stage, they also knew that I needed that. So I was just invited to everything and just come for a coffee. We're cooking, come and eat by us. So I would literally, in a space of a day, start by one and end by the third friend and then come home. And then feel sorry for myself because the house is so quiet. I'm getting into bed alone. Caleb has a dog that drives me insane. And I would even pull Tiny closer at night. Like usually I'm like, no, Tiny, get off, Tiny. And then I'd pull this little Tiny with me. And then I'd feel very sorry for myself because, yes, I'm alone and it's just me and Caleb's dog. So I tried to keep as busy as I could. And I'm glad because now I don't get to go out. Now I want to go out again. Things changed. Things then changed after that. So, the kids don't spend a whole weekend and they go every second Saturday from the morning till 6 o'clock in the evening. So I sort of also do, if I want to go out a little bit or have a drink or just have adult vibes, then I just plan it in that space of time, and then I make sure I'm home, and when the kids are home. So yes, I did go out tonight. So thankfully, I made up for all the time that I can't go out now. But that was
You can go out now.
I can't.
You can. It's
Babysitters.
called babysitters, and it's okay to take a mommy night and be like, you're home, they're babysitters, mommy's going to have a glass of wine, and I'll be home when I'm home.
Okay.
That's okay. And it's needed, but we'll have that. That's a separate
Another
conversation.
episode.
That's another episode. If you think about life now, I know you said visitation schedule has changed, so you do have the kids, probably 95% of the time. But what does healing in life look like for you now versus all of that busyness? Because I just think the three of you have the best life.
Yeah, we just, you know what? We're just always together. So everything we do, we're together. And this is so random. I just have to mention it. I went and watched the game, the World Cup, and I usually don't. The kids are so happy at home, and but all three of us are so content to be at home. And Caleb actually said to his dad the one day, he said, "What are you guys doing the weekend?" And then Caleb said, "Oh no, Mom said we're going to get home after school. We're going to lock the door and we're only going to come out on Monday when it's school again." And I still thought, oh my gosh, that sounds so dodgy. But we're so happy at home. And yes. So, yes, we're at home a lot. So we went. I don't go out often with the kids either. And I'm starting to do that a little bit more for them to get used to the busyness and being other places. So we went to the World Cup. So it felt like I was moving because I had a bag of toys because everyone else's kids were older. So it was just Caleb and Emma that were going to be the little ones. So I had a bag of toys, and then I had their bath stuff because I'm going to be a good mommy and bath them there. And Emma sort of stood in front of me at 7:00. We got there at 6, and she's like, are we going home now? So I was like, no bugs. We have to wait for the World Cup. It's only at 9. Half an hour later, can you at least bath me then? So off I go in the bath her. And then she started again with, okay, but can we go now? She says to me, all of 5 years old, why do we have to watch it here? So I said, so Bugs, I would like to watch the World Cup rugby. This is like, it's a big deal with people that are my height. Like, no, but we can watch it at home. We watched it last weekend at home, just the three of us. So Caleb then joins in on the party, and he's like, "Yo, Mom, I agree. Can we go now?" So yes, it was everyone sort of. My friends were amazing, and everyone helped and assisted. And Caleb, who never went, he's like, "Okay, well then, can I at least bath then?" And I think it was also because now we were chit chatting away from the crowd. So they absolute hoggers of me, which is fine, and we need to wean. I need to wean them a bit, but yeah. I can't remember what you asked me. Sorry, I strayed so badly.
No, so you've answered the question. Right? It's just about, I think, what life looks like for you now. And it's filled with the kids. It's filled with you guys just spending time at home, and it's content. Again, I say, please schedule mommy nights. It doesn't have to be a date night, right? Because there's no dates, but it can still be a date with yourself. Still be a date with yourself. Nat, what were some of those things after divorce, or even in that separation period, right, that you experienced that no one prepares for you, that irritated the hell out of you, or made you really sad? So let's look at it from both sides. Just the things that really tripped you up that you didn't think you would ever have to deal with.
I didn't have sad moments. Just initially you have I'm the third wheel, I'm the fifth wheel. And I think a lot of people do go through that. And I think, but my friends, like I said, were absolutely amazing. And one of my friends actually said to me, stop it. You're making yourself feel like a third wheel. You're not a third wheel. We love you. She's like, what do we do at Bryce? The girls are together, the men are together. So what? You don't have a man? Yeah, you don't need a man? Yeah, kind of thing. So they were amazing in that regard. So I just had to say to myself, can I tell you what made me sad? This is also so random. I had to pour my own drinks when I went out. I was like, oh yeah. I hated it so much. Now I'm like a boss. I've got the best little cooler box, and but anyway, that irritated me. That made me sad. But I think one of the biggest triggers that I had was when it came to the kids. Just with, you have a lot of people, and I've said it before, where I know it comes from a good space. Some people's comes from a good space. I don't know about everyone, but people sort of feel that they want to give you advice when they themselves haven't gone through a divorce. When it comes to the kids, so they give advice of, but why aren't the kids going to their dad, or whatever the case may be? Force them. So, like I said, things changed a lot with the schedule, and yeah, their dad was then, okay, we're not going to force them, which I was very relieved about, because we don't have. I think you guys call it a what? It's not co-parenting. We have a parallel
You guys
parenting.
parallel.
Parallel.
Yeah,
Okay.
you parallel
So there's
parents.
absolute minimal contact. We've now reached a point of, this is the Saturday, so we know how that works. There's minimal contact. So I didn't know how he was going to feel about it. Caleb was just expressing that he didn't want to sleep over. And then I got, he's manipulating, not from his dad, but from people. He's manipulating. How can you listen to him? Force him to go. He's the child, you're the parent. And initially you do sort of, you feel overwhelmed because you don't know what you're doing. You don't know if you're doing the right thing. So do you force him? Do you sort of say to him, this is it, like you do with bedtime and bath time and whatever? And I think initially we did a little bit of forcing, and there was one specific, I truly believe that because of that forcing, it ended up just backfiring completely. That's why I say the therapist also afterwards then said the pushing to go and the forcing to go had such a negative effect. So I did. I listened to people. No, you will go. There's no, and their dad planned, it was in the December, January holidays, and they were going to go to the Kruger Park. So, boy, I was just, oh my gosh, you're going to see all these animals, you're going to do this, and da da da. And I did. I got Caleb a little phone and put WhatsApp on for him so that we could communicate. And I said to him, send me photos of everything you see. Mommy's going to see. So I really tried to get him excited. And he kept saying, I don't want to, Mommy, please. I don't want to be away from you. That was what it was about. He didn't want to be away for so long. Anyway, long story short, he went.
Can I just create context though, right? Yeah. So the Kruger for those who are from South Africa. So the Kruger National Park is wildlife. We're well known in South Africa for the Kruger Park and the Big Five and all the animals. But that's probably a 6-7 hour drive from home. How far is that from you guys? Yeah. So, I mean, it's not a situation of Caleb's leaving, and if something happens, Mommy could just quickly jump into the car and go fetch him. Yeah. And Caleb, I think, knew that I'm going to be 6 to 7 hours drive away from Mommy. Yeah.
Yeah, because we explained that to him. So I very much believe in painting a scenario that there's no sort of surprises. I always would tell Caleb it's going to be like this and it's going to work like that and whatever, because Caleb's quite an anxious little guy in general. So so he left, and the night before he was just not having it, and he had a proper full-on anxiety attack. And again, so now you go through the motions of, okay, but Daddy's planned this holiday, and so again, now I forced him. I'll never forget, Caleb walked down this driveway. He got into the car and he just gave me this look of, I cannot believe after everything that I've expressed to you, making me go. So shame. He forgot about it immediately, because then I started getting the messages and, oh, Mom, look. And then I got the first picture of a cow, I think, on whatever road, just outside of Newcastle. And yes, anyway, so yes, Caleb was constantly messaging me. And even though it had been such a lengthy time period of us having been separated, divorced, I'll never forget, Caleb phoned me the one day while they were there, and he said, Mom, look at this, look at that. And he got so teary because we were video calling, when he saw my face. And then he looked at me and he sort of looked at whoever was there, I don't know, and said to them, guys, why did no one invite my mom? Why is my mom not here? And I realized, even though you explain things to the best of your ability and you think that they understand what you're explaining. I realized at that moment that Caleb was still confused and was still adjusting, even though it had been at that point. I can't even remember. I think a year and a half in, or 2 years in, I think. Yeah, 2 years. So I realized this little boy of mine has still got a lot that he's processing. But anyway, so yes, after that weekend, or that week, sorry, away, he came home and he just refused. He said, I am not sleeping over by dad, by anyone at all. I think in his little mind, he thought if he sleeps over, it might be for a long period of time. And I think to sort of just protect himself and where he felt safe, he was just like, I'm not going anywhere else. I'm staying with you. So I was quite happy that their dad then agreed, and he said, okay, no problem. We won't force them then. It took Caleb quite a bit of time to actually even go for the day. So that's already progressed to him now going for the day. So yeah, in time, I'm sure that will also get better.
It will get better.
But sorry. The trigger for me was that we go through those motions with our kids, and we know our children, and we know what they're experiencing. And everyone said, he's manipulating. And the therapist actually said to me, Natalie, does he manipulate about anything else? Is he a manipulative child? I mean, you can pick up on these things. And I just reached a point where I thought, I can listen to everybody's advice, and I can say thank you, and but it took me a while, but I just realized I don't need to listen to any of this. I can listen and say thank you, but I mean, I don't need to use any of it. I don't need to let it phase me or make me doubt the decisions I'm making, because I just need to focus on Caleb and my kids and what they're saying to me. And I just drown it out now. And I just realized I know them better than anyone. So yes, if he's saying something to me and that's how he feels, then I listen.
Yeah. But I think what you're touching on is so important because, again, I think we get so caught up in the adult emotions of divorce and the big stuff, the legal stuff, the financial stuff, the routine stuff to keep life going. And we kind of just expect the kids to go along with it. And I suppose to a large degree they have to, right? They didn't put up their hand, and they weren't part of the settlement process or the visitation schedule. No one asked them what their opinion is and where they want to be. They have to go with it. But I do think what you're touching on is so important in terms of your child. Yes, you might get some children who are going to push the boundaries. Mila pushes the boundaries. I know she does. But it doesn't come from a space of maliciousness. And if they're genuinely looking at you saying, I don't like this, we can't just brush it off because of what other people say. So I think that's huge. Nat, I remember you also once spoke about people making you feel like half a person. Do you want to talk about that?
So yes, I in the almost 3 years have never I've never dated. I haven't put myself out there to start dating, and I haven't had anyone in my life. So, and that's a decision that I've made. I'm not ready, and for the sole reason of I'm content and my kids are content, and I don't want anything to change that right now. I'm not ready to change what we have, because we really are, we're happy. So a lot of people, when they ask you, are you dating? Have you met someone? And you say no, you sort of get the, oh, shame, don't worry, And then I think to myself, I'm not worried. And there's nothing shame about it. Like, I'm really fine. I've even been challenged when I've said that I'm fine. And I sort of get questioned of, but are you really? And then I say, yes, very much so. So I think, again, like how you said, you grow up with this, you need a partner, or
the narrative of life.
Yes. And people can't sort of fathom that I'm genuinely so content to be by myself. I've had invites for a coffee or a whatever, and I immediately go into, because I've learned that apparently males can't be friends, just friends, apparently. So I immediately go into no problem. I've been told I'm an overthinker, but I just, yes, maybe divulge too much. And mommy and pa actually said to me, you're very forward, because I say to them, I would love to go for a cup of coffee, but please just know that there's nothing further. I can only offer you a friendship. So mom's like, that's so forward. This guy's just asking for a coffee, and you're like, no, thanks. I don't want a relationship, but I'll do a coffee if that's fine with you. But then you get proven right, because some of them then don't contact you back, which is fine. So, yeah, I think people just really, they sort of feel sorry for you. And don't worry, Nat, your person will, you'll meet your person. And yeah, so it's frustrating because why can't I do this woman empowered thing? But
if you reflect on your journey, right, and it is a journey, I think every day we don't know what's going to happen with the kids, and they come home with brand new questions. There's new things that happen at school, there's new triggers. But if you think about the last 3 years and where you've come from, where you thought your life was genuinely falling apart, to the strong, independent, and incredible mother and woman and professional and teacher, and just everyone loves Natalie. That's the only way I can describe it. And I'm not just saying this, like, this is for real.
Make up my beehive now.
This is you, right? And I don't know, in that moment, you thought that you would get here. There's this mindset of this too shall pass, but when you're in the chaos, you can't think about what the next day is going to hold. So, in terms of your last 3 years and you reflecting, what advice would you give to people who are going through an unexpected divorce, who didn't think their life would take the twists and turns that it has, and are now having to start a brand new chapter and they don't know what the first step looks like? What is your advice?
I definitely, I think I would definitely just say, truly, this too shall pass. And I know when you're in that moment, you don't believe it, because, like I said, you feel like there's just mountain after mountain after mountain in front of you. But I really drew closer to the Lord. I've always been close to the Lord, but I mean that I didn't then look for him and say, Lord, help me. He was already in my life, but I definitely had a mindset of, okay, this is happening for a reason, and I'm trusting you, and that there's something better. And something better definitely, I think, showed itself early on. I did things that I never thought that I would do. I packed school lunch boxes. No, but I I'm usually the shy. I'm shy. I'm submissive. You take over, you take control. I will follow, I will assist, I will help. And I definitely became so much stronger. And this sounds so cliche, but I definitely got to know, I think, the real me, which I wouldn't have before, because I devoted all my time into being a good wife and to be there for my husband. And obviously I still, I mean, my kids come first with everything. So I think you lose a lot of yourself. And I mean, I started karate. I love it so much. And that also helped me just grow in confidence so much, because I mean, my first fights I had, I would hit and I cried because I was like, I can't hit you. Now it's like, bah, 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 bah. It's just I've got so much more confidence. I know that if something's put in front of me, it's going to be okay. I might not be able to figure this out right now, but eventually I will. And I've just realized that, yes, I'm capable of so much more than I ever thought. And yes, I'm enjoying that. And I think that's maybe also one of the reasons why I don't want someone in my space, because I'm enjoying this. I think Mommy actually said to me, Nat, promise me that if you do get involved, you're not going to lose yourself again, and that you're not going to then just give everything to that person. And I may be worried that that might happen if I meet someone, because that's just who I am. I just think I'm enjoying this so much. And I said to Mom, Mommy, maybe not. Maybe I'm just going to be a little bit more feisty and be like, question things a bit more and give my 2 cents a bit more. But yes, I'm just really proud of myself, and not because of just everything, but just for me alone, not Mom, not just Natalie. That yes, I've got this. I can do it. I'm
You
fine.
really do.
Yeah.
You really, really do.
Oh, shame. But also because of you guys, sorry. I really am so blessed in that the Lord, every single aspect, I just felt so cocooned with my work colleagues, my friends, and of course my family. Ma and Pa were just an absolute pillar. And you, I mean, I phoned you all the time from that very, very first phone call. My family were just so supportive and just there. I never had a moment of feeling I'm all alone in this. So yeah, if anyone could have the best divorce ever, it was probably me. I don't know. Like, it was fun.
Tap into my world.
Yeah. So yes, I'm just very, very, very blessed.
When you said I am so capable or I am capable, that was a bit of an emotional moment there, because I think you've always have been. And I remember after your divorce, I remember saying to you, we've got the old Natalie back. So you've always had the good stuff, Nat. It's always been there. I just think that you are absolutely living into who you are as a woman and as a mother. And we love you and we're proud of you. And we
Thanks,
support you with every single step of the journey.
Thanks, Roxy.
We're two bloody crybabies, me and you.
But yes, I mean, also, sorry, I was just thinking now, the capable part, we've just got to get mine part to let me drive. I am strong, I am powerful, I'm capable, but I'm not allowed to drive. So yeah.
Okay, well, you do drive at Newcastle.
No,
You
I
just don't drive long
I'm not
distance.
allowed to
Again,
drive.
context.
Sorry, I'm not allowed to drive long distance, shame. But yes, they love me. Thank you, Mom and Pa, for loving me.
We'll figure that out. Nat, thank you for spending the evening with me. Thank you for sharing your story with us. I've never had as much of an anticipated episode as what I've had with you. I even had people messaging me wanting to know, when is the episode with your sister coming out?
Oh, the PG episode.
The PG episode. But I love you. Have a good evening. Please give Emma and Caleb big cuddles. I'm going to finish my wine. Tristan's going to make us spaghetti bolognese or spaghetti with parmesan and parma ham and tomatoes. And so that's going to be our vibe tonight. The kids went, Mila went back today. Jordy went back on Wednesday. So yeah,
So just
that's
the two
us
of you.
tonight.
Enjoy.
It's just the two of us tonight.
But yes, Sean, I just want to end off as well by saying how proud we are of you. And yes, Mom and I say all the time, I said to Mommy that just whatever you have ever put your mind to, any idea, you could just start thinking of something and it just happens. You are just amazing. Mom and I always say, we're just the little down to earth small town girls, and you're the one that left the small town and made it big. No, but really, Sean, no, seriously, we are extremely proud of you. And I think that you are just amazing at everything you do, because everything you do is just always successful and it just prospers, yes, in every what way, and that's because of who you are. And I'm so proud that you're my big sister.
I love you.
I love you.
People are going to be like, push stop. We're over the smushiness.
Public appreciation. Okay. Go enjoy your food.
I will. And give the kids a big cuddle, and then we'll speak to you soon. But thank you so much. I love you.
Bye.
Bye.